Welcome to the Imagine Not Being Leeds.
Imagine not being Leeds, not feeling this pain, not dancing through thunder, not walking through rain. Imagine not rising with fists in the air when the world turned its back and no one would care. We've lived in the ashes, we've drowned in defeat, but still we stand proud on our battered old feet. Imagine not loving with all that you are. Imagine not being Leeds.
We love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.
We do love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. Now then, everybody, welcome back to Imagine Not Being Leeds. What a day. What a day. What a mess. I can't believe what's happened today with this and continuing to happen. But anyway, guys, I hope everyone's doing well. Friday tomorrow, the weekend is upon us. Hope you're good. Please smash a like on the video if you don't mind. Please subscribe if you are new here. And let's get into it. So I'll get through a few comments first. We all know why we're here. Big news popping off regarding Jorgen Strand Larsen. It's all we're all talking about. I know a lot of people were hoping we'd be past it now. Look like we're going to Palace, and obviously we will get into it. But it's a massive talking point at the football club at the minute. And yeah, everyone's got an opinion on this. Whether they don't want him, they want him. Whether they think it's too much money or what. You know, it's going to be interesting to see. Maybe something comes out while we're on stream, and if it does, let me know, and we'll have a look at it. Dilip, going to be really good to know what the hell is happening with this player. Are Palace just playing games, or have they found someone else that could do better than he is? Need my ITK start rare to see. Here we go, not go. Yeah, is Zach, especially from two very credible sources too. Ivan Gossond having medical today on loan from Villa. Yeah, I've seen that, John. We'll get into that too. Think Leeds are getting carried away with this signing. No, Paul, I don't, mate. And obviously, it's a big talking point, mate. You know, it's a huge deal potentially for Leeds or Palace, and it's a big saga at the minute. So it's obviously we're going to speak about. It's happening, coming up every day at the minute. At some point, it will end. You know, Monday isn't too far away now, so that will happen, and then you know this goes away, and hopefully goes away with Leeds being the right side of it for me, anyway, in my opinion. Genuinely hope we do go back in for JSL. Hope we don't. Massively overpriced. I mean, at 50 million quid, Steve, I agree. I think at 50 million quid, it's way too much money for Leeds to stump up. I still think he's got the potential in 2 or 3 years to be beyond that. I always say that. I think he could be a 70, 80 million pound player in a year or two. So it depends. I mean, for Leeds, 50 million sounds, you know, ridiculous. So I'm with you on that one. Neil Bateman, maybe Palace are getting the Evan Gusson transfer done instead. It looks like it, although he is a right winger, but can play up front. But it looks to be having some sort of impact. Evening, Matty. How we doing, Michael? On Harry Wilson. No, a few unreliable sources putting out there. But again, as soon as it looked like the Strand Larsen deal was done, you know, a lot of the the aggregate sites had to move on somewhere to keep getting the Leeds United clicks. So Harry Wilson is always going to rumble on. Leeds would love him in the summer. Again, who's to say an opportunity doesn't come up in the next few days where Harry Wilson is a goer and maybe they bring him in early. Like they've trying to do, maybe will do with Strand Larsen. I think Wilson's one that we'll want next season, but definitely nothing concrete as of yet, mate. And if I'm honest, I don't expect anything to happen this window. Evening, Matty, my old muck. How you doing, Revy? The lights hope you're good. Cheers for letting us know that, Zach. Hey up, Angela. Hope you're good. I'm good, thank you. Is the intro song available for download anywhere? I love it. It's absolute fire. Zach, I have a Spotify and I have Apple Music, all your music stream sites. It's on there. If you just type in Imagine Not Being Leeds, I've got a full album of Leeds songs you can download, and that is on there, mate. Evening, Matty. Are we doing LUFC edits? Evening, guys. Let's just hope JSL is not keen on the Palace move. Yeah, well, I aren't too sure he is, mate. How are you doing? Just when I think I'm, you drag me back in. Well, that's it. I agree, Luke, with that. Yeah, Steve, you're right. Friday tomorrow and late night Leeds is upon us. What is going on, Matt? How are we doing, Pete? You know, obviously, there's 225 people already in the building. Please smash a like on the video. Please subscribe and all that. I aren't going to be able to bring every comment up, obviously, naturally. So bear with me and I'll get through what I can when I can. But let's get into it anyway. So obviously, we know, you know, the sort of nature of how the day's gone, but I'm going to go through it anyway from sort of start to finish. So obviously, this morning, woke up after I did a stream last night. I've been very confident that Leeds get Larsen done. by sort of the conversations I've had and the people who's reached out to me and people I know. Obviously, a few people have had a pop today saying, you thought you were ITK and your sources are shite and that. I'm not too bothered. I ain't got no, sources. I ain't got, I've just got some people I know and I trust who may know a thing or two. So, I've said that Leeds are very confident, and I sort of said with chest, Leeds are really confident they'll get this deal done, like really confident. So I'm confident. So I'll let you know I'm confident based on what I've heard. And I know they're confident based on the fact that everything Leeds United side was telling them that Strand Larsen wanted Leeds over Palace. Obviously, I always added with that the chances are if Palace come in with more money, which they did, that will get accepted over Leeds United. I'm hearing unconfirmed reports tonight that it could even be a Strand Larsen not fancying Palace, which would lean into what I sort of believe, that he would personally prefer to move to Leeds, but that's unconfirmed. The confirmation obviously coming this morning from Fabrizio after multiple Norwegian reports too came out saying through the night that a deal had been agreed in principle of 45 plus 5, which blows us clean out the water. We could not compete with 45 plus 5. It's less than they got offered last year from Newcastle, so it's been valued at even higher than that, or say valued. They've had offers coming beyond that. I think they were 55 last year, so 50 from Palace. We can't compete with that, regardless of any moving parts of Mateta or anybody. If they've got 55 million, which I'm led to believe it were 50 up front plus 5, 45 plus the 5 in add-ons, which obviously Gazump leads 33 plus 6, with the 45 being up front. So it would always going to be tough to sort of deal with that. Then obviously I've sort of been angry all day. I'm not going to lie. I've been annoyed all day that this has happened. Not annoyed that Leeds haven't been able to pay 50, because I don't want Leeds to pay 50 million quid. Do I think he's worth 50? Potentially, but for us, he's not. We can't pay 50 million quid for him, and I wouldn't want us to spend 50 million quid on Strand Larsen, even though I really rate him. But I think, around 40, whether it's 39, 40, a little, maybe slightly over, I think in and around 40, if we can get it done. Leeds won't do anything that's daft. They won't gamble on anything that's not doable for Leeds United. If we can get him for that fee, I'd be over the moon, because I think he's a really good player. And obviously, as the day has gone on, there's been rumblings start to come out that potentially the deal's broken down. And obviously, this one came out. This is from Sammy Mockbell from the BBC. Crystal Palace move for Wolves striker Jorgen Strand Larsen is in the balance after the South London club communicated their intention to walk away from the deal. This was also confirmed by multiple people, Ben Jacobs as well. Exclusive from the BBC. Crystal Palace yet to submit their formal bid for Strand Larsen despite agreeing 45 plus 5 fee. Transfer currently in doubt after Palace agreed a deal with Evan Gousson, obviously on loan, potentially from Villa. And then obviously Graham Smith as well has come out and said Leeds United's position on Strand Larsen remains the same. Very keen, obviously. Open to a deal that makes sense. Interested to see what Wolves do and whether they accept if Palace do walk away completely. And that's the big if, isn't it? If Palace do walk away, do Wolves not entertain any bids because it's below what, potentially what they'd agreed with, or thought they'd agreed with Palace? Or do they, in fact, go with whatever bid's available? And maybe Leeds United are the only one at the table. And that's going to be really interesting to see what unfolds. There's always an opportunity, because I'm looking at it thinking there's still enough time in the window with it as not getting in to go get somebody. But also now if this deal does fall through, which it sounds like it has, there's also a lot of time for another suitor to maybe come in as well and gazumpas again. So it's very interesting to see how this sort of plays out. But everything coming out tonight is sort of saying that potentially the deal is off, which I'm absolutely delighted about, because I've been absolutely fuming all day. Let's get a few of your comments anyway. Not worried about JSL signing, going elsewhere. His performance this season doesn't merit the thought. And that's something I would say, Gangin, as well. It's an unusual one, because, I always talk about the good old days of football when I was a youth. But, 40 million quid, so say 20 million quid, 20 years ago, whatever. The big transfer deals happen really for the players in form, playing well, performing well. So he isn't doing that. He's currently not in form. But these days, the way it is, it's always about the potential, the future sell-on, what they'll give you, what the profile brings to the side. It's not always about how good they are right now. It's about where they'll be in 18 months, 2 years. And that's sort of how I think the Strand Larsen deal is sort of playing out for Leeds United. Right now, does he merit 40 million quid right now? No, he doesn't. He definitely doesn't merit 50 right now. But the potential of Strand Larsen, that's where the value comes from, in the potential, the young age, the ceiling that he still hasn't hit because he hasn't entered his prime yet. So, but yeah, I get it. Norway White's told you, he has said he only wants to go to Leeds. Will be 35 plus 7. taking it to 30, taking it to 42. We'll have to see. Evening, my man. How are you doing, Nige? Another day in the soap opera. That's what it feels like at the minute. That's what it feels like at the minute. I might be wrong, says Michelle. How are you doing, Michelle? But DCL is a better striker than JSL. I'm not too sure on that. I think he's more in form. I do think personally Strand Larsen's got more to his game. I think he can do a lot of what DCL does. Maybe not as good in the air, but I think he's a lot better with the ball at feet. But again, Strand Larsen doesn't come really with the injury sort of concerns that you get over DCL. But yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out. I would disagree, but obviously DCL's working wonders at the minute. I'll star that one, Dave, because we'll get on to a bit of Piroe news a bit later on. Carl Waters, hey up, Matty, what is going on with Strand Larsen? Who knows? I'm hoping something comes out while I'm live. Hey up, Richard. I think there might be a deal to be done. If not, then I'm not overly worried. It will be fair to say that Piroe on loan to Rangers would happen if we do get JSL. Yeah, I would say so. Not 50 million quid. I mean, really, says Frank Spencer. Yeah, a lot of people want to know what's going on. I wish I knew. I'm hoping not, Ben. I'm hoping the soap opera is coming to an end. I think if it gets confirmed that it's fallen through, because obviously it's not confirmed at the minute, so I'm sort of on tenterhooks thinking at any moment we could just hear yep, he's gone to Palace. Because obviously if they do submit a formal bid and money's exchanged, it can happen like that, then obviously it changes. But I mean, if it does fall through and Leeds still don't get him, I think that's gonna be even harder to take, because as soon as that deal falls through, I think puts us back in the driving seat. It means we're the only people at the table again with some serious money. So I'm all for that, but it's going to be really interesting to see how these next couple of days pan out. But surely now Leeds United have a huge chance of getting this deal done from the depths of despair earlier this morning. Do me a favour, everyone, please. It's 405 people in, 98 likes. Let's get those likes up to 200, please, as quick as possible. You absolute legends. I would love that. Yeah, word is JSL. Yeah, I mean, everything I've sort of heard and reading between the lines was that Strand Larsen really wanted Leeds United for whatever reason that is. His agent, his mate, his dad being obviously been a Leeds fan. There's all sorts of permutations, but whatever it is, it might just come down to he sees the value in what Leeds United are doing right now and where Leeds United are going to go. And maybe the project to Leeds United is more exciting to Strand Larsen than the project at Palace, which is where I am. But obviously, I'm a Leeds United fan. Leeds United tinted glasses obviously are always going to be on, even though I try and keep impartial and see both sides. I personally think Leeds United is a way more attractive proposition than Palace. I really do. And we were the first ones. And sometimes that really helps. We're the first ones to sort of put that money down and say, we want you. We're not waiting on, do we need to sell something to bring in? We literally got in first. Sometimes that means something. Evening, Matt. Please go to Palace. Not worth more than 25. I'm hearing this quite a lot. I think probably 25 based on this season, but I think his overall levels are worth more than that. And yeah, I've seen this too, Richard. AC Milan are trying to hijack Forest deal for Mateta. It's gone quite quiet on Mateta to Forest. Which hasn't surprised me really. I was surprised that Forest were even going to go for him, to be honest. But yeah, if Milan come in for Mateta, it gives them that money again to maybe go. And I had a rumor earlier that Mateta potentially injured as well. So at the minute, there's so many stories coming out from all angles. It's just a merry-go-round of Strand Larsen, Palace, Wolves, Leeds. It's a mad one. But I ain't gonna lie, I am really enjoyed the last couple of hours. Apparently, Wolves will want a large upfront payment, which we can't afford to PSR restrictions. Yeah, well, let's say apparently they were going to pay 45 up front with only 5 in add-ons, which is mad. Oh, wow. Abdullah Rahman Khalifa, thank you very, very much. Wow. I don't know what to say about that, mate. Thank you. Legend, for your super chat. Evening, Matty. What's now the situation with JSL? My son was sad today after hearing Palace will sign him. Yeah, me too, buddy. He really likes JSL and thinks he will improve us. 35 to 40 is max for him. Fancy draw against Arsenal. I agree with all that, mate. I think 35 to 40. If we're the only ones in for him, buddy, I can't see him turning it down. I know they've made out of Wolves a lot at their end that they don't need to sell. They're not going to force him out. They're not too, they'll only sell at the right price. And I think 40 is the right price. I don't know why 40 had been rumoured as being the price. Probably just a structure that made sense. And that would obviously Palace could probably put a better deal together. But then to go above that, maybe the 40 weren't the price and 50 was always a price. But it was weird, wasn't it? It's like buying an house. You see it for sale for, I don't know, £250,000 and then someone offers 20 grand more. It was a weird sort of scenario to see it be like 10 million higher than what we all thought. But yeah, I agree. I was as sad as your son, honestly, this morning. I was devastated, to be fair, angry. And then when I was angry this morning, and then when I seen it with 50 mil, I thought, I can't be angry at the club for that. It's just I'm angry at the situation because I really want the player. But yeah, I think you're right. I think if it's fallen through, I think Leeds can get a deal done for about 35 to 40. I still fancy us now, but obviously at any moment it could just come out that it's not fallen through and everything's tickety-boo. And yeah, a draw against Arsenal, probably for a good result for Leeds United, that's probably the best outcome. I don't know if we can get a win. At Ellen Road, you never write it off, but I'm probably not going to predict a win in this one. I bite your hand off for a draw, mate. And just thanks again, mate, so much. Abdul Rahman Khalifa, I'm bad at pronunciations. Thank you so much for that super chat. I actually can't believe you've done that, mate. Yeah, big up to you and your family, mate. Thank you so much, buddy. Wow. MOT from Norway. How are you doing, buddy? Hope you're good. Steve says, I don't think it would happen. Going back to who at the moment are going backwards, losing their manager. Yeah, it don't make no sense to go to Palace for me. They're trending it wrong. They're trending downwards. I haven't given hope on Piroe. He's a good finisher. I think you might have to, Michelle. Really, I really do. I don't think he's a Leeds player coming in the window. I mean, a lot hinges on this. I mean, I said yesterday, the rumours are that if we don't get Strand Larsen, Leeds aren't too asked about bringing a striker in. I think Piroe stays at that point, but I always maintain the fact of why keep Piroe around if he's not going to feature? And obviously the fact we're going for Strand Larsen shows you the kind of profile of striker Leeds want and what, well, more important, Farke wants to work in this system. And Piroe's not that guy, so I don't really see the value in keeping Piroe here this season, even though I do agree. I think he could add some value if he played. Yeah, so a lot of people are saying this, mate. A lot of people are saying this. Last season, he got 14 goals. He had a great season last season. Only got 1 goal, 1 assist this season in the league, but I think he's got a fair few goals in Cup as well. So I think he's up at about 6 or 7 goals, isn't he? Could you see him and DCL being absolutely lethal up front? Yeah, 100%, Cedric. I think it'd be an absolute brilliant partnership. I really do. He's a lot more mobile as well. It's quite easy to look at, a big lad like he is, Strand Larsen, and say he's very similar to DCL, which is in a lot of ways, but he's a lot more mobile. I always favour the big man, little man sort of combo as a 2 up top. I feel like if you're going to play 2 up top, you need someone with a bit more pace, someone who can get about the pitch like a Metcha does. But I think Strand Larsen's better than Metcha by quite a lot, to be fair, and I'm a big Metcha fan. I think Strand Larsen and DCL would be great. And I don't look at this as competition for DCL. It's decent backup if DCL was to get injured and you needed to play 1 up top. He'd just start over DCL. You wouldn't lose much. But I think as a partnership, I actually think DCL will probably be licking his lips at this one, thinking, "Wow, this could be massive for not only the club but for him personally. Having someone like him to play alongside, so it could be brilliant." Here he is. Look, the Leeds game. How do, Matty? Clive once again from the Leeds Gamer to cause as much chatting havoc as possible. Yeah, Dave says, please get those likes up. It really helps the channel. Cheers, Dave. 148 likes, 467 in. Mental. Yeah, please smash me a like. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Ruben, how are you doing, mate? Genuinely think this is madness. He's had 1 good season. He's not worth the money. But has anyone actually watched him this season? He's awful. Yeah, I've watched a few bits of him, mate. I would at Molineux when played him as well. He came on off the bench in that second half. Had a header go over. I thought he looked fairly good in that game. Try to get into the game. They played a lot better second half after we had that purple patch and banged quite a few goals past them, didn't we? So I'm sitting for stand at Molineux myself. But yeah, I don't want to tarnish his whole career and his whole potential on a bad season so far at such a poor club. The such a poor club this season. That you took all his creative players away. Cunha, and there were a few more leave Wolves, and now he's sort of being left there trying to keep him up and try and score the goals. It's just not worked out. I do think he's a very, very good player. I really do. And like I said, I don't want to tarnish him with that brush just because of 1 bad season. And there's still half a season to go. Well, not quite half, but I did hear, says Richard Butler, that we put up 42 million, take it or leave it. I've heard unconfirmed again with that, Richard, that's the case. Again, we'll have to wait and see if all comes out on that. But I have heard that we've gone beyond the 33 plus 6. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I heard it was over 40 now. I think at 42 million, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. Even though I rate the player and I want the player, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable with over 40 million. But again, You know, we're not. I say we're not accountants. There might be accountants in chat. I don't know, but we don't know Leeds United's financial situation. So maybe 42 is fine. You know, maybe we've been burnt as fans before. The club's been burnt, and it's a worry. But I do think the shrewd businessmen, I don't think they'll do anything to jeopardise the club going forward. So I'm convinced whatever we put in, we're still fine with PSR. Yeah, it'll probably mean a sale before June 30th, as I keep saying. I feel like a broken record at the minute. But this is a story that produces the broken record just to keep playing. And again, look at me. I'm getting excited again. Just please don't anyone put in chat that it's all shit and he's gone to Palace, because I'll be gutted. Start looking somewhere, says we are Leeds. Ollie's that we are we doing, mate? Yeah, I'll get to Piroe in a bit. Yeah, I'll start that one too, Gary. I'll get to that too about Metcha. We'll have a chat about that in a bit. I'd pay 25, 32 maximum. The lawyer. Have you got 25 mil? Have you got 25? If I had 25, I probably wouldn't pay it on that line, to be fair. Jackson, I've just joined. Where have you seen this news of Jason? It's all over, mate, Jackson. It's all over. I've got reports on here. Look, I'll click them back on the screen. Sammy Mockbell says it there. Crystal Palace move for Wolves striker Jorgen Strand Larsen is in the balance. Communicated their intention to walk away of Palace, and obviously this one as well from Ben Jacobs. So it's not a given that it's collapsed. It's just rumours that are gathering pace, but it's not just rumours as in from uncredible sources. There's a lot of credibility to these people, obviously, that they're hearing this. It's just not been sort of mentioned by either club, but it looks like the offer was a deal in principle of, the says amount of 45 plus 5, which obviously blew everyone out of the water this morning. Nobody's going to come close to that. But an actual official bid didn't go in. There were no money on the table. It was just an offer. Just a number put out there, which obviously they would accept. But I've always been led to believe as well that he didn't really want Palace, and this could change. He could still go to Palace. Because I don't see me, if he say, hypothetically, Larsen wants Leeds, but Leeds are 10 million short on Palace. I don't know how that works in football, because we've seen it before. We saw Rafinha go to Barcelona for less money than we'd have got from Chelsea, which it was a hard one, really. It was a hard one because you want as much money as you can get. But on the other hand, at least he wanted Premiership to play against us and stuff, so I understand that. But like sometimes the player maybe has a bit of power, but does Strand Larsen have enough power at Wolves to say, no, I'm going to where I want to go despite how much money you get? I'm not too sure he does. So that's an interesting point to look at as well. It's a really interesting point to look at. And we'll see how that materialises. Hi, mate. As a Wolves fan, I think he can do better than Leeds. And that's a great comment, Kevin. I love it. I love that. You're the first Wolves fan I've seen actually speak highly of him. I mean, I don't know if that's you just putting Leeds down, but obviously I think Leeds are a huge club, as most of us in this chat do. But a lot of Wolves fans aren't bothered about him going, especially for the fee. 40 million people are saying he's not even worth that. So by you saying he can do better than Leeds, I don't think that's a diss at Leeds. You're saying he can play higher up the league, and I agree with that. I agree. I mean, look at that. Newcastle came in for him. Newcastle are a Champions League side. Newcastle are in Europe and have been, look where Newcastle are now. Newcastle wanted him. So I don't disagree that he should maybe be playing higher up than a side who have only just been promoted. That's probably a fair point, to be fair, Kevin. I don't disagree with you, because I do rate him that highly. Hey up, Dennis. If we go to 35.5 total with add-on deal, we will get an opportunity because it's shown that he is a Leeds fan. I'm not sure he is, but his agent is and his dad is, I think. He's friends with Haaland. I just think there's quite a lot of little bits and pieces that may just nudge him in that way, but it's a gamble. Anything's a gamble, though. I mean, bringing in Metcha and DCL for free, not a financial gamble, as our only main strikers, bearing in mind, even though we saw a lot of Piroe through pre-season, he's never been fancied by Farker, really, after earlier on in the season. So that would a gamble, only bringing Metcha and DCL. And let's be fair, there weren't many fans happy when we signed DCL. But financially, it never bothered us because it was a free transfer. But he was our mate. He got given 9 shirt. We was banking on our survival on DCL's fitness and form. And luckily, it's worked out. But this is a financial gamble. But I don't think as a player, it's a gamble, because he hasn't got, loads of injury worries. He hasn't got the baggage and the scar tissue, let's say, that DCL's got. So that part's sort of taken care of. His abilities there, I think we all agree he's a good player, but the fee feels like it outweighs the talent. But I think you'd see it's probably parallel to the offer Leeds are looking at, to be honest. It's just whether we can get it over the line. Like I say, as you start going over 40 million, no matter if I think he could go on and like I said, I think he could double that in a couple of years of his value. I really do. When you've got Watamendi at Newcastle, well, the alternative really to Strand Larsen when they couldn't get that deal done, they went and spent 80 on him. Is he a lot worse than Watamendi? Is he 40 million worse than him? I don't think he is. Some people will tell me he is. I don't believe it. Based on a poor season, I think put Watamendi in Wolves' team, he's going to have a goal or two. That's it. But yeah, I think the more you go over 40 because of his form this season, the scale start to tip to the favour of it's too much money. But I think if we get it in and around 40, maybe just under 40, I ain't going to moan at that. I think it's probably where his value is. And it's based probably on the potential of where he goes after this average poor season. Bamford to come back. Not quite. 3-5-2, DCL and JLS will be unreal. Exactly, that's how I see it. I say JLS. JSL. Palace have crumbled on the fee. Yeah, they put some out there they could probably afford. On obviously, there must have been some logic to it. We've got this money, we'll pay it. But then obviously the what's it called? Evan Goussond. There's my pronunciation again. Yvonne Goussond. The fact they're going to loan him, even though predominantly he's a right winger, can play at left, can play through middle. Is that a reason why that's sort of not happening now? The Mateta deal, AC Milan look interested. I still think they'll offload Mateta, whether it's Forest, AC Milan or someone else, just because I think it's starting to turn toxic there. He doesn't want to be at the club. While ever Mateta's there, this is what shocked me this morning, because Mateta's still at the club. I didn't expect anything to come out about Palace, going for another player. I didn't come in for JSL. But with that sort of happening this morning, it probably means, at some point Mateta will leave. The fact that they've even made this noise around Palace today, it's gone from being a rumour, or he may go to Palace. Palace are in for him, to being confirmed today that, we're willing to offer some money, even though it doesn't look like that's happened. And it says to me that Mateta probably does move on at some point, and while ever he's there, I'm hoping that plays into Leeds' favour. Yeah, it doesn't, Jim. It doesn't. Don't mind Palace as a club either. Really don't. I've been really happy to see the success of late. Buzzing for them, to be fair. Seeing another team in Europe winning FA Cup. Great as a neutral, looking on. You're cheering Palace on, really are. But it's gone sour. It's fallen, and a lot of people now, not me included, to be fair, but a lot of them are tipping them to go down, which it feels crazy. So maybe a Strand Larsen coming in maybe helps them and aids them away from that relegation. Or you'd hope so if you spent 50 million quid on a player. Jaguar skills over 400 in the room, 538. This is the most I've ever had in the chat, and I'm sure it's not because I'm good at this, because I'm just a fat man from Leeds waffling on, as I always say. It's probably because it's just big news and everyone wants to talk about it, so we're here. But while you're here, do me a favour, smash us a like, please. 204 likes, 545 in room. It's free to do. Smash us a like, really helps the channel, and please subscribe if you're new here. I would love you to smash that subscribe button, and we can do this more often. And tomorrow we've got Late Night Leeds. Leeds United quiz, loads of fun and games. Talking about Strand Larsen, probably. I do apologise. That'll probably come up, believe it or not. But make sure you're back at 10 o'clock tomorrow for Late Night Leeds. We'd love as many people in room tomorrow as is in now, even though that's probably unlikely because this is mental. But I will take it. He's playing hardball for wages. Palace going to pay the money. No chance Wolves will take 10 million less. David, if it's the only option on the table, I don't think they have a choice, because it's less money when they go down. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. And just, obviously, there's emotion with me. I'm a Leeds fan. A lot of us are. I'm emotional about this deal. I'm emotional about any sort of movements my club does has an impact on my emotions and my well-being sometimes, believe it or not. So this one's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. But even if we're a neutral fan, I'd be wanting to see how this goes, because there's so many variables to this deal. Whether it's Mateta moving on, whether it's Leeds moving Piroe on, whether it's, that they are pulling out. The fact that ours is probably 10 million quid less. Our Wolves going to play our ball right to the edge of the window? Our Palace just trying to get that fee lowered? Our Palace just, bluffing? And they're willing to spend the 50 million quid, but they're just going to push it a bit more and test the resolve of Wolves. But if Palace walk away and there's only Leeds sat at that table, Wolves have got a big decision to make, a huge decision to make, because they're looking at players already to bring in for JSL. They're already looking at players. Striker at Hawks there, they were looking at yesterday. I can't remember his name, but rumoured to be looking at him for 8 million quid. Bringing him in, already starting to plan for the Championship, in my eyes. So all of a sudden, it's a huge, huge problem if they keep hold of a player that doesn't want to be there. And when they get relegated, because it is a when, not an if, the fee significantly drops and they're not getting the maximum of what they believe they should be getting for him. To be fair, though, the Leeds gamer, Simon Jordan says a lot of people are useless. A lot of people. I quite like Simon Jordan. He's funny. Really, really funny guy. I don't mind him at all. Jonathan says, is there a deal Wolves would do for 25 plus 7 each season he hits 10 goals? Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Obviously, Leeds are wanting to come up with a smaller upfront fee than add-ons. I think 25, whether that's 25 up front, I'm not sure, but there'll be some money spread over a length of time. The add-ons have to be achievable, don't they? There's no point putting add-ons into a deal that aren't achievable, but the buying team will probably try and stretch those as far as they can, because hopefully they want to pay as little as possible and they want to maximise the sale as well on the other side. So maybe, 10 goals is well achievable. So they're probably, if there are add-ons and it were 10 goals a season, that's probably classed as an achievable goal, achievable add-on. So I would imagine maybe that they'd go for, but the 25, I'm not too sure. Rumour has it, Palace had 45. And when I say up front, I don't know if that means on books it's up front. I don't think it's just 45 million. I think that 45 still staggered in terms of over a length of a period of time. But the add-ons of 5 million, maybe they were, well, regardless, to be fair, if they were more achievable than Leeds, is the fact that there were 10 more million pound on table, probably the biggest variable there, wasn't it? Hi there, Matty. Been a while, but hope all good for you and your boy. Leeds. Question. How are we doing, David? Are we likely to get Strand Larsen for cash plus a player? Well, that's gone quiet, mate. We're going back a week or so, maybe not quite a week. There were rumours leaked out, well, not leaked out, that Piroe was linked with Palace. And I think that was just very much of, because let's be fair, he doesn't fit the mould really for me. Him going to Palace, when you think they want Strand Larsen now, I don't see Piroe playing for Palace and giving them very similar. Palace want a striker like we want, like we've got in DCL, big, physical, strong, good in there, good finisher. I don't think Piroe's that player either. He doesn't fit the style of a striker in the Premier League for me. When you look at his profile. So this was always an opportunity. Looking at Leeds want to play a striker. We've got a striker that probably don't favour. They'll need a striker. Maybe we can do a bit of 25 million plus Piroe. But that's gone quiet. I don't think that happens. There's a lot more involved in that as well, because you've got to have two players agree to the sale, not just one. So yeah, I think that's gone quiet. I don't think that happens, pal. The Leeds gamer, we owe Arsenal a receipt, 5-0 win for Leeds. Imagine we sign Strand Larsen and go beat Arsenal regardless of score. Isn't their manager walking in the summer? So why would JSL go to Palace? Again, it's easy to look at that because I think the same. It's a sinking ship, but it's money as well. Money. They've won FA Cup. They've been in Europe. They've been an established Premier League side longer than Leeds, and they're technically higher than us in league by a few points. All as a Leeds fan looking up, thinking we're going to catch you with your buggers. You're going nowhere. We're gonna have that upward trajectory, which is where I see it. But if you're a player who hasn't got that, affinity with Leeds, which I don't think he's a Leeds fan. He's got people around him that are. But still, even the attractiveness of playing in London, which I don't get, by the way. Anyone from London, no offence. It's just a lot of money to live there, isn't it? Regardless if you're earning 200 grand a week, it's still a lot more money. I'd rather earn, X amount and live in Leeds myself, to be honest. But then again, that's probably my Leeds rose-tinted glasses again, isn't it? Kershaw, how are you doing, my mate? It doesn't make sense Palace selling Mateta to Forest and strengthening a rival. It would be like us selling DCL to West Ham. Yeah, I agree with that, mate. I just think Palace probably don't. I say this quite daft, really, but they probably don't see themselves in trouble. For me, I think when you look at the bottom five, they've been the ones really. I know we're looking at clawing. At one point you think, oh, can we get Bournemouth, Tottenham? Can you get obviously Palace involved? But I think they'll be very confident they're not going to get dragged into it personally. So, like I say, if they let Mateta go, it does seem a bit of a weird one. But I do think they probably have enough to just stay out of it, even though a lot of people disagree with that. Again, we'll have to see. Wolves will 100% take 10 million less rather than leave it until the summer. Agent Smith, that's exactly where I sit with it. Exactly. It all comes down to whether Palace pull out, should I say, and whether anybody else comes to the table. Because the problem is, there's still time. That's the worst part about today was, thinking he would join in Palace. But the best part about that was there was still enough time if Leeds decided to move on, which they weren't looking as of now. But as that deal, were to unfold and he were to go to Palace, it gives us enough time still. It's not deadline day. It gives us like 3 or 4 days to go bring someone else in if we choose, because there will be a list. I don't think they're too bothered on a striker. This deal right now just seemed too much of an opportunity to not go ahead and try and bring in. So that's why he's done it. But I do think 10 million less is mental. You're never going to take that if both offers are on the table. But if there's only one offer on the table, it's better than a £25 million relegation clause, which I've heard he's got. Again, unconfirmed, but there will be something in there. And even if there was no relegation release clause, it's still going to be a fact that he's a championship player as soon as, that that last whistle blows on game 38 and it's end of season. He's then a championship player for me. Right now, they can argue he's still in Premier League and the one maximum value, which I understand, and that's their prerogative. He's their player. You know, he's got a decent lengthy deal. He only signed permanently last season. So yeah, DCL, Mark Hall, DCL, injuries are not worrying the lad because fit as a fiddle. Metchet is like a breadstick ready to snap at any time. We should offer 3 million for young Marnie from Wolves here. He's a bloody good player. Yeah, Mark, I like that Marnie from Wolves. 30 mil, sorry, not 3 mil, 30 mil. Great player. He's gonna like the championship next season. His Mane. He's everything I've been reading. Wolves side, they're looking forward to seeing him kick on next season. Obviously, that drop down in level, which they're all expecting to be. He will be a baller next season. Andrew Conne up, mate. Oh, thanks so much for your super chat, buddy. Appreciate it, mate. See you on Late Night Leeds. Thank you so much. You will see us on Late Night Leeds. Like I say, anyone who hasn't seen it, come back tomorrow. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Memberships as well for the channel. If anyone wants to become a member, we've got a WhatsApp group. If you want to get involved in that, let me know. Is the 42 mil bid real or nah? I won't lie, mate. I haven't seen it officially by anywhere, so I'm not too sure. Not too sure. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate you giving that a listen, mate. Thank you. I think he would be great for us, but unfortunately don't see it getting done. Yeah, I mean, if you want to ask me a percentage now, if I think he gets done or not, I'm still a no for the fact that surely Palace don't pull out just based on how I felt all chuffing day after seeing the stuff this morning. But as soon as, if it is confirmed, if someone comes out and it's confirmed, because even though we've seen it confirmed, it doesn't feel still like it's happened until maybe we hear something from club side. But yeah, if they have pulled out, I then would put, I say a lot of money. I ain't got a pot to piss in. Sorry, guys. I would say high percentage that it comes to Leeds United then. But at the minute, until we get a little bit more confirmation, I'm not too sure. Well, you know what it is, Frank Spencer? We did that in summer, didn't we? We spent 100 million quid on 10 players, pretty much, on an average of £10 million a player when you spread it out over that. And we got 8 of them right for me. Nailed, at least 8 right. Did really well. Built a really good squad, and I really like. But you can't get, you can't do that all the time. You can't get lucky all the time. If you bring in £10 million players all the time, you're never going to evolve that squad. You're never going to become an established Premier League side. For me, in my opinion, mate. I know a lot of people have been burnt with, with big transfer fees. Just because it's a decent price tag doesn't mean it's a decent player. I get that. And you can spend a low fee. Tanaka, a couple of frees we bought this season, and there can be good players who have high ceilings and bigger sell-on values. I get all that too, but I do think at some point to become an established Premier League side, you need to speculate to accumulate. And I do think every club needs, 35, £40 million player or two. I do. I think it takes you to that next level, and hopefully can take us out of that bottom bracket to that mid bracket. And a player like Larsen does that for me, because at Leeds United, he will get the service. He will get the service, especially, if he comes in now, you got Buonanotte in there fighting for minutes. It's all of a sudden, it's a really competitive squad. Interesting to see today in the press conference. Obviously, Farke got asked today by one of the journos about, obviously, we brought in Buonanotte. That's the one deal you didn't get done in the summer. Does that mean you're done now? And he didn't say we were done. He sort of goes on a lot, doesn't he, about, the door's always open for any decent opportunities and stuff. And we always have, one ear to the ground to see what's going on. And if something arises, we'll look at it. So I get that. But it is a true fact that. It is a true fact, when the season started, yeah, we may not have been happy with the depth in certain areas, and we're still not. But we've actually got more minutes and better performance out of DCL than what we thought. 2-3 games in, I weren't ruining the fact personally that we didn't get another striker. I was quite happy with every way. It was just that sort of bit of stardust, that X factor player playing behind DCL, a number 10, a right winger with a left foot, that sort of profile, a Pajau, a Harry Wilson, someone of the ilk that we missed out on. We've actually brought that player in now. So you could say the squad now is probably as we wanted it for the first game against Everton. That's probably what we wanted. We've got it now, but we can see how vulnerable we are in left-back position and up front. Those two positions were very vulnerable, and we've sort of, blagged us way through. We've managed his way through so far this season, and DCL's holding up great. And obviously, Gabby Goodmanson, he's been an outstanding buy. I mean, let's be fair, before the ball were kicked, as much as we thought he had a good career, but at Lille, he's come over here to play Champions League football. We didn't know at 10 million quid how good he was going to be. 10 million quid, sometimes just average players, like Frank Spencer says there, you can bring in 10 million players you can. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. He's been brilliant. But then he gets a knock and we look very vulnerable. So it's going to be interesting to see if anywhere else pops up in terms of positions for Leeds United as a priority. I do think as fans, left back, for me, is the biggest priority. I don't even think a striker's the biggest problem at Leeds United. I really don't. It's all just if buts and maybes. It's a risk if we have an injury at DCL, especially seeing Metcha. As someone said earlier, breadstick legs. I'm not going to go that far on him, but he's had a few knocks. No lengthy, nothing lengthy, but he's missed a few. The odd game. He doesn't seem to be able to have a run of decent games. His minutes are obviously not great all the time with Farker. He's more of an impact player. I'd love to see him start as a two up top. I would love Leeds to play with two up top, ideally with Larsen, but I think Metch is always going to be in and out of injuries. Hopefully just niggles, not major. And that does leave us very vulnerable. The fact that it's not just DCL's sort of fitness you're gambling on, you're also gambling on that player underneath him as well in Metcha. Obviously, sorry guys, I'm going to have to start skipping over some comments. I'm getting way behind on the chat, and I do apologise for that. Anyone that knows me and watched this channel for a long time, I try and read every comment out. I've got no chance, absolutely no chance. But thank you so much. And obviously, when you comment, people comment within your comment. You have a bit of a chat in the chat. I hope anyway, and I hope it's all good. But I really appreciate you all watching. And I know everyone just wants to have a say on this Strand Larsen. Everybody wants to know. It's one of those. As a fan, you just want to get out there and speak to our fans and see what everyone's thinking and just get it off your chest. So hopefully, even in chat, even though I can't bring everyone on screen, you sort of getting what you want from this sort of stream. And hopefully we agree. The Strand Larsen is doing my head in, but if we don't, it's fine. Hey up, Paul. I hope you're doing well, mate. Gipton, not worth the dough. End of story. Matt, at the pound is now losing purchasing power. Being even average players will be soon costing billions. Yeah, it's mad in it how much it costs these days. Absolutely mad. What does this mean for Matteo coming back? Whether we sign a striker or not, Jack, Matteo Joseph for me will not. I don't think you'll see him in a Leeds United shirt again, personally. I really don't. I don't anyway. Ian says, hi, new here. Is he really actually worth it for this type of money? Surely there is better out there. I think he's worth it. But again, it's opinions, Ian. Not everybody else does. For every 10 people that might think he's worth it, there might be 10 or 20 that don't. But look at the deals we spent before. What did we spend on Rodrigo Moreno? 27, 28? Something around that ballpark. Is he worth 13 million more than Rodrigo? He's way better than Rodrigo. You look at Rodrigo, 29 years of age. What are you, 10? What are you, 9? I'm not too sure. He had a decent end to his Leeds career. But look at the profile of this place, 25, and it is prime yet. Someone's willing, Newcastle are willing to put more money down, 55. These are willing to put 50 down. Premier League clubs are really interesting. How many people were banging Rodrigo's door down for that sort of money? Leeds United did. What he worth it? Not too sure. Do you know what I mean? Rutter were very raw. Brought him a bit of an uncut diamond. Brought Rutter in. Took him 12 months to get used to Leeds United. Played brilliant that second season. Third season as well. Second season, sorry, in Championship, but it was Championship. He won a lot of money. What, 30-odd million as record as well. So, yeah, when you look at it for 40 million quid, I think when you compare the closest sort of prices we've paid for any of his other players, the closest to 40 million in the last few years, honestly, I do think he's worth it, yeah. I do. I really, really do. Look what we sold Calvin Phillips for. I think he's better than it's a different position, but I think he's a better player than Calvin Phillips was. I think Strand Larsen's a better striker than Phillips is a midfielder. Would I have said that at the time? Maybe not. At the time, it were very relevant and probably, maybe wanted more money. But I think when you look at other deals and stuff like that, yeah, it sounds a lot of money. Of course it is. It does make me nervous, Leeds talking about 40 million quid. It's mad. But tell you what, whether it happens or not, one thing you've got to admit is it's nice to be in the conversation for a player that's worth 40 million quid. It is. It's great. Look how far we've come. Look how far we've come. A couple of years ago, we're selling all the best players. You're watching Archie Gray go, watching Somerville go, watching Rutter go. And now we're looking at somebody potentially getting relegated and taking their best player. Well, they're getting relegated and taking their best player. We're on the opposite side of the fence on this one. And that's a great place to be as a Leeds fan. And I love that. Smash a like for this great channel. Come on, Leeds. Thanks, Sol. Really appreciate that. Yeah, please smash a like. Got 293 likes. I'd love to get to 400 if possible. I like to set little like targets. It's nice. It gives us something to aim for. Really appreciate you all watching, honestly. I really do. Means a lot, man. Lee Naylor, you're a mighty lad, and hope we're all staying as positive as can be. Yeah, we try, don't we? We try. Kershaw, injuries in other clubs, getting wins, surely keeps the owners on their toes. Surely we don't gamble. No further signs in this window. Yeah, like I say, mate, in past windows, I keep going on about past windows. We have gambled. Last season, I always felt we had enough. This season, again, though, Kirsch, I think we've got enough. The problem is it's more likely we get relegated this season with no signings than not going up last season. I think last season we all still felt we've got enough to get promoted. This season with no deals, I still believe, but it is more of a gamble for me. It's more likely we could get relegated than it was less likely not going up last season. Just based on the teams around us strengthening, the teams around us picking up points of late. Will that continue? No, it won't continue. West Ham won't keep winning games. Forest won't keep winning games. Be nice if Leeds could start winning games instead of drawing all these games, what they should be winning. But like I say, I'm one of those, I go off the order and the feel of the games, what I'm seeing from Farker, the boys, the feel when I'm down in the Peacock before the game and the energy. It feels a great vibe at Leeds at the minute. And I just can't see us falling off a cliff and being relegated, regardless of the transfer window. This deal for Leeds United would be massive. If something happens, Palace's side, regardless of who they buy, they bought Brennan Johnson, they're going to bring in Gasson, they might bring someone else in. If Leeds can get a deal done now that looked unlikely, and let's be fair, for the people that don't massively rate him, he's playing football. There's going to be no transition period for a Strand Larsen if Leeds get him. There's no sitting, maybe he sits on bench with no Farkers like at times, but it's not going to be no transitional period. He's got to get used to weather. He's never played in Premier League. There's none of that. This lad could sign tomorrow and play Saturday for me. There's no two ways about it. He's ready to play football. And if he comes in and scores a goal or two in his first few games, all of a sudden that price tag gets totally forgotten about. Nobody talks about it, and all that goes away. So I think it's a good one. It's a new one. It's a good one. Yeah, well, Agent Smith, I think maybe that's too high, but then again, what's Piroe worth? Is he worth 15 million? Maybe take it to what they think. Yeah, everyone's saying that, Rom, a lot. Well, everyone, not speak for everyone. A lot of people are saying that. Really are. I don't know, Matt, did he? I'm not too sure. But here we go for... Did he do a here we go for Schmid? He did, didn't he? For Schmid at Leeds. Well, coming to Leeds. And that didn't happen. So, yeah, he's losing a little bit of credibility. He's for British show there, isn't he? Evening Top Banana would be good. All this too expensive will stop when he smashes a hat-trick against... And this is what I mean, Norway Whites. It's exactly where I am with that. I look at that and just think it can all be forgotten very quickly. Very quickly if he comes and hits the ground running. And everything's set up for him to hit the ground running based on all the variables I've just said. Ken Jones, hello, mate. I'm a Wolves fan. Stay away. He's nowhere near worth that much. He's lazy and he won't score the goals. You could do better elsewhere. Well, what are you telling us to stay away for then, Ken? You want us to take him, don't you, for 40 million quid? Everyone's got opinions, mate. And I've seen Wolves fans on social media. I've seen Wolves fans in the last couple of weeks slating Strand Larsen, going, we don't want him. He's crap. He's rubbish. I'll drive into Ellen Road myself. And all I've done is go down, scroll down 6 months ago. Wow, what a player Strand Larsen is. We're so lucky to have Strand Larsen. He's a world beater. Where's he going to be in 2 or 3 years? What a player we have in our hands. Football fans are fickle. I don't think there's any player you've currently got at Wolverhampton Wanderers who are setting the world alight. But everybody has a ceiling. Everyone has a potential they can maybe get to. It doesn't mean because you play for Wolves right now, you're a poor player. It doesn't. Just everything at the club's, let's be fair, toxic this season. It's poor. It's poor. You're a championship club, in waiting with a lot of, you've even got a championship manager. But for me, you see more than we do, so your point's valid. But for me, he's not as bad as what people are making out. He's not. Because last year, Ken, there's no way last year when he scored 14 goals for you in Premier League. None of them penalties, by the way. There's absolutely no chance. I can guarantee you will have been saying he's a good player. Because I've seen his goals. I've watched games when he's played. His movement's top-notch. His finishes, different finishes, header, left foot, right foot, volleys, tap-ins, edge area. He's got it all. He's a great finisher. And Yale missed chances. He's not the finished product. He's 25 years of age. He's not a kid, don't get me wrong, but he ain't the finished article. He's still got another level to go yet. And maybe we can be that side that gets in there. Yeah, 501 people in chat, 323 likes. Thanks so much, man. Thank you so much. Do you think Palace are playing games and trying to pull the deal away from us, or do you think they actually want him? I think they want him. Mateta's going. Like I say, Gousson's coming in, but Gousson's not an out-and-out 9. He can play across the front 3, but I don't think Gousson's good enough really to replace Mateta as that 9. I know they've got Nketiah, but I think he's out injured, isn't he? He has to go somewhere. If Palace back out, we could get him for a steal. He won't want to go down Championship, as he will lose value, of course. Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a chance that he stays at Wolves, just based on the fact they're playing our ball, and maybe they're just bottle selling him to Leeds for 10 million quid cheaper. But because the gap's too insurmountable from where they are to safety, I think there's nowhere they can go with it other than selling him. But you just never know, do you? You never know. I think it's a gamble worth taking. Figure is scary. However, it's the exact profile of striker that we need. I agree, Cedric. And like you say, I've heard a lot of people as well say, Cedric, we don't need a striker. And I sort of go along with, if everyone stayed fit, we don't need a striker now. But this is, this is an investment in the club going forward. Does DCL still start as number 9 for Leeds in 2 years' time in Premier League? Maybe not. Hopefully he still is and he's doing well, but maybe not. Does Metcha? You probably say definitely not. You've got to evolve it, and this is a player that I think can lead the line going forward, into his prime and hopefully beyond that. So yeah, 100% the figure is scary, but we don't know the ins and outs of the club's financial stuff, do we? And that's probably why they didn't bite his hand off to start with, because it was a deal like, well, you've just about got to his valuation, but I don't like the structure of it. Let's just hang on, because Mateta's leaving Palace at some point and they'll have some money to throw around, and is the exact profile they need. And let's be fair, I know it's gone a bit stale for Mateta, but how good was Mateta last season? How good was Mateta? Mateta were unbelievable last season, as was Strand Larsen. And they're going to move Mateta on. They need somebody to come in there and hit those heights, really. And I rate Mateta. He's a bit old. He's 28 to nearly 29. But I massively rate Mateta. And I don't think we'd get Mateta. I don't think Mateta would move to Leeds, even though, Forest are below Leeds. There's been no rumblings that why don't we go for Mateta? I think Mateta's a Champions League player, in my opinion, even though it's gone a bit poor. I don't like where he's handled stuff there, really. It doesn't seem like it's too good. But I think if they're replacing Mateta with Strand Larsen, in my opinion, that goes to show, he's obviously a decent player. He would be an amazing addition. Hey up, Paul, my mate, how are you doing? He's more than acceptable, and what we will do for us with DCL up front and how his worth will increase in a year. Let's go. That's how I feel. Yeah, Zach. I mean, don't get me wrong. That don't mean we should get Strand Larsen, but yeah, 60 million quid for Højlund. How poor with that? But then again, we don't want to be 40 million and another Højlund, do we? But a lot of people, I mean, in Europe now, for a decent young talent who's got a level that he could potentially get there, because it's all about potential. Højlund with that player. Has he got there? Not yet. Is he going to get there? Potentially. Again, the word potential. And I think that's where we go with this one. Matty, do you think Farke goes uber defensive versus Arsenal? Potentially. I mean, I look at it, a lot of it depends if Gabby Gudmundsson's fit. He said today in Preston, didn't he, that Gabby's recovering well, could be available, but it's highly unlikely he starts against Arsenal for me. And I think if he's not playing, you go a little bit more defensive, having James Justin at left back anyway, just naturally. I think he is, and I've said it on last night's stream. I think marking Saka, he could potentially pocket Saka as he cuts in off that right hand side onto his left foot. He'll naturally go because he's right footed and step in. I think it could be a nice little move that you're relying a lot on right hand side, but at Ellen Road, we're always going to have opportunities to score goals. That will happen. Set pieces are massive. Stack's delivery, Piroe not being in there is obviously not ideal, but Stack's delivery, the ball's got to be bang on to beat Arsenal, because their set pieces are next level. If we don't defend them well, we could lose on a set piece, couldn't we? Let's be honest. But yeah, I mean, all out attack, I'm not sure. Dan James is available. Will he be on bench? That'll be interesting. Obviously, he's going to have to play his way into fitness, but he's available. He's training with the squad again, which is great news for Dan James. Be great to see him on bench and come on for the last 5-10 minutes. But what a weapon Dan James could be. He'll be like a new signing, Dan James. We forget he started season, but we haven't really seen Dan James this season, and a lot of people don't rate him. But coming back from fitness, his role now has changed at Leeds United, being the main man, which he was last season, played at season. I think he's been outstanding under Farke. He's probably been our best player for me, consistently, when fit. But you look at Dan James now and think, stay at Leeds United now, obviously, till end of season minimum. We'll see where we go after that. But as an impact player, unreal. For the last 10 minutes of a game, whether it's making late subs like we all bemoan, if it's Dan James coming on, he can make something happen with that pace. So it'd be really interesting to see how we go. Matty, we're gambling now without insurance for DCL and Metro. Well, we are, but there's nothing saying with time to go. Obviously, Graham Smith said yesterday as well, I think he said it today, that Leeds weren't actively looking for anybody else other than Strand Larsen. But that's not necessarily saying they won't keep their eyes open, and potentially that could change. That could change. I'm paraphrasing, but that could change. No. Hussey King, has a deal fallen through with Palace? Rumours are it has, but they're stronger than rumours, mate. They are concrete journals, big time journals, credible journals that are saying this. Yeah, but Goulson can also play left hand up front. He can play across the free. But when I saw that, he's predominantly is a right winger, Jim. So you're right in what you're saying. He's predominantly a right winger, and so is Brennan Johnson, who I think is a great player, by the way. I really like Johnson. I liked him at Leeds United. Gets a lot of stick, although last season they were brilliant again. I think a lot of people forget, don't they? They have a really good full season last year. They have, a poor start to this season. And automatically you're a poor player. I heard that with Brennan Johnson. I had loads of mates in my group chat when we were going to Palace say, 35 million, what they're paying that for? I thought Brennan Johnson's a class player. 35 million, a little bit too high, maybe. But again, if you get the Brennan Johnson of last year, he's a great player. So we'll see. So our strikers are DCL and Piroe on Saturday. Oops, yeah, Andrew, Piroe won't see pitch, mate. For me, he won't. They'll be relying on Okafor. He does have leverage, yeah. Yeah, like and subscribe, please do. Cheers, Andrew. 346 likes, you absolute legends, man. Honestly, thanks so much. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. And make sure you come back tomorrow night for Late Night Leeds at 10 o'clock. Be great to have a couple of 100 people in for Late Night Leeds tomorrow. We've got a quiz and, yeah, loads of stuff. Loads of stuff on tomorrow night. It's because you're brilliant, mate. Big love, brother. Cheers, Sean. Really appreciate it. It's not because I'm brilliant, mate. It's because there's big news at Leeds United where everyone's rushed to YouTube. I do the same. I used to do the same before I had my own channel. I used to do the same all the time. Something's happened. Don't want to go on a X or whatever you want to call it and go through alt triplets on there. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on YouTube and just see who's live talking about Leeds United because I just want to get some comments in there and I want validation for how I'm feeling. I want to look at these comments and see, all these people that go to games with all those fans that love Leeds United from around the world. I want to know what they're saying and see if it's the same as me. So I get why there's so many people in, but I tell you, I'm just thankful for it. I'm thankful for it. Just check. There's a new post on Insta saying there's reportedly a 39.5 million offer with 2 mil add-ons. Probably not true, but just think through that spot. Cheers for that, mate. Cheers for sharing that, Dennis. I'll have a mooch about maybe Leeds have increased it slightly, knowing that Palace offered what they offered today. Maybe Leeds know we have to just push the envelope a little bit beyond 40. I mean, if Leeds were willing to go 39, is it going to have massive implications in a negative way for Leeds if we go to 41 or 42? Maybe not, Maybe we'll have to see. Maybe Leeds had another offer in them. And obviously, if Palace are out, Leeds maybe push that envelope again and go, actually, there you go, take it or leave it, 41, 40, whatever it's going to be. It's either going to be a narrow loss or a draw. But you never know. I predicted a win, I think, every week, bar Man City. Every game. So first time you see me, I predict win every single time. I bang my little TikTok videos on as well, score prediction time. And I've been getting nailed last week saying, Matty, if your predictions would have come in, would have been like 20 points clear at the top of the league because you just predict win every game. But it's hard not to predict to win. I don't want to be downbeat about my club. Good point, to be fair, Matty. Your offer is currently the black and white offer Wolves have right now. Problem when I'm so far behind on chat, Jim. Thanks for your comment, but I can't remember what I said 20 minutes ago. Half an hour ago. Late Night Leeds is the best show on YouTube, 10 p.m. every Friday. Top Banana, love that you've said that. Thank you so much. Please, if you haven't seen it before, be intrigued and come back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. I would love that. Hey up, Skippy. Be interesting to see if JSL plays on Saturday. Yeah, it will. I mean, who's to say something doesn't happen tomorrow? Skip, we'll have to see. But yeah, it's at that point now, isn't it, where chances are, whether Palace are in, out, shake it all about, or Leeds are, probably Saturday comes before anything sort of happens. It's going to rumble on beyond Saturday, and let's be honest, wherever he ends up. But yeah, Saturday again. They keep playing him though, don't they? Skip. They played him and played him and played him off the bench, getting 5 minutes here, 25 minutes here, 25 minutes there. But yeah, it will be interesting to see. I'd expect him on the bench because that's where he's been playing and coming on. But if he doesn't come on the pitch, maybe that indicates something's happening as well. Do you think Wolves still think they can survive? I actually don't. Otherwise, I don't think Leeds United. I don't even think there'd be a conversation that Leeds United could get Strand Larsen. I think if there were any chance at all or any hope that they had of staying up, I don't think Leeds United would even be in conversation for Strand Larsen. It just couldn't happen at all, could it? Because we are one of the likely ones that could catch in their eyes. So no, I don't. I think the fact that it's even a conversation and a possibility, and the fact they've been negotiating with us, it's been back and forth. It's not just been Leeds have offered and that's it. It's been a back and forth conversation, negotiation for a while. And I think this news coming out of Palace, Leeds will be talking probably right now. Let's hope anyway. So I think the fact that that's the thing, rules that out totally. I think they're definitely planning for. I think even the managerial change the Leeds game. When they made that change, he's a Championship manager that's coming to the football club. He is. He would at Luton is a Championship manager. So I expect everything they're doing now is leaning into planning for next season. If we have around 40, why not go get Troy Paddock for a national hero? Yeah, the Leeds United fan. I love Troy Paddock. I think he's a great profile for a two up top. I love him. Absolutely love him. Obviously, I'm English. I'm not an Irish fan, but I remember watching that game or those games he's played for Ireland in track qualifying. He's just unbelievable. What a player. Definitely their hero. Smashing the goals in it is Alkmaar. Great season again. Proving he's not a one-season wonder. But he isn't the profile we want. Even though I think as a two up top, just like I do with Piroe, I think there's value to Piroe next to DCL because I think Paddock and Piroe are similar, although Paddock's more mobile. I think Piroe's probably still a better finisher than Paddock, but I think Paddock's an all-round potentially a better player. But again, we don't know until you get to the top level, and he isn't at the top level currently, as in not playing in the Premier League. But he just isn't the profile we want. It's obvious that Leeds United want somebody similar to DCL. They want a 6'2" plus player who's good in the air and can partner DCL, but not as a mobile sort of finisher in and around. And they want someone. I think they want two brick shithouses, my French up front. That's what they want. I think if they could mould DCL with no injuries and have two of them up to, I think they'd do that. And I think we'd all take that, wouldn't we? But yeah, as much as I like Troy Paddock, I just don't think he's what Leeds want, if I'm honest. Try and get through some of these. Mr. Jean says Leeds are staying up. I agree, mate. I really do. Heard Isidore at Sunderland, 8-2 happy, maybe a cheeky 25 mil bid. I'd have Isidore tomorrow, mate. I would. I'd have the Isidore tomorrow. Because like I say, I'm not too concerned about bringing a top striker in. I'm same as Leeds United. I would love Strand Larsen because there's an opportunity to make that happen. But Leeds could manage with a player who's not as good as Calvert-Lewin, who's maybe in and around Metcher's level, who's there as third choice, maybe in front of Piroe if Piroe does move out. So anyway, let's get on to Piroe story anyway. Let's have a bit of a chat about Piroe because obviously it's all Strand Larsen heavy, which is fine. But obviously today it came out. My mate say earlier. There you go. Dave said as well. I'll take Piroe at Rangers all day. He will do well at Ibrox. Let sort the Larsen deal out once and for all. Yeah, no, I agree with that, mate. And Joe Piroe. So I wonder what people think about this. Exclusive from Florian Plettenberg. Joe Piroe is currently one of the top candidates for Glasgow Rangers on loan until the end of the season. This will be the case if, don't hear the rest of it. Anyway, Rangers potential destination for Joel Piroe. What do we all think of this? Because I think we've all sort of lent into this at times. I know I have. Celtic will link with him, and you're thinking, I know it's not Leeds United, but double interest in terms of the 49ers enterprise, been at Rangers. There's no way we'd let him go to a rival of them, surely, to make Leeds' life easier, but make Rangers' life harder, potentially. I didn't really think too much of it, if Piroe goes there and does it, he does it, but it always made more sense for him to go to Rangers. I think Rangers striker, I don't know if it's happened, I couldn't even tell you his name, but they've got a striker who may be leaving the club. Joel Piroe, I think, goes to Scotland, and I'm sure we'd all agree. A lot of people think he'll do it in Premier League, so I'm pretty sure more people than not will think he'd go to Scotland and absolutely smash it, especially at one of the biggest and best sides up there. So I think he'd be brilliant. Again, it's a credible source, but it's just he's one of the top candidates. So they've got a list and he's on that list, and that doesn't surprise us. It would be an easy deal to do club to club, obviously, but it comes down to Piroe. Piroe looks like he's digging his heels in and doesn't want to move anyway. He wants to stay at Leeds United, but this sort of keeps his foot in the door at Leeds United for me. He can go play football, go get minutes. He'll start every game for Rangers, score some goals, keep the value at what it is now currently, or maybe increase his value. Look at it in the summer, and if it doesn't work out, he's still a Leeds United player. It's not like he's having to move to another club where there's no sort of interest with Leeds United. There's sort of a tie there still with the 49ers enterprise. So I think it's a great move for him, his Rangers. Has it got any legs? We'll have to wait and see. Does this impact the deal of bringing Strand Larsen? I don't think it does. I really don't. I think there's a potential that we sign Strand Larsen if in fact we do, and Joel Piroe's still at the club, which if that happens and he's turned down the opportunity to go play football, then it feels a little bit of a daft move from Piroe. But I love his optimism. I love that he wants to fight for his place. I love that he backs himself as any footballer should. If you're a footballer, you're confident. You've gone through all age groups, under 8s, under 9s. My little lads in under 7s now, smashing it, doing really well. And you're confident. You go through levels being one of the best players. I presume when you're a professional footballer, you've gone through levels bossing it. You get to a level then where you find out if you're good enough. And at the minute, he's probably first time in his career not good enough for the level he's playing at. And I think that's probably fair to say. Or we don't think he is, or some of us don't think he is, but he definitely hasn't had the chance to prove whether he is or not. But the problem is he isn't going to get the opportunity. So I think go play football elsewhere. And Rangers, for me, is a brilliant place for him to go play football, in my opinion. Get your thoughts in. Get your thoughts in. Let me bring that down, bring my ugly mug back on, and we'll get through some more of the chat. I agree on Okafor, but I think next season he'll come good. I hope so. I don't want it to be another one of those deals where we spent quite a bit on him, 16 million quid, and then next season he ends up where he's still not doing it, and we end up loaning him out because no one will buy him for 16 million quid again, which is probably what we want for him. Yeah, for a little bit, Jim. For a tiny bit, mate. Teeny, tiny bit. About as much as Bamford were for England. Maybe a little bit more. Only 2 strikers this season have 10 plus goals in the league. It's why they cost a lot of money. Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, exactly. No way, 50 million. Michelle, again, thanks so much for your super chat, Michelle. Thank you. We can get a result against the Gunners on Saturday. I agree we can get a result. But yeah, I do make myself look an idiot by going, we're going to win 2-0 against Real Madrid. I do that quite often. So I may just tone it down for this one and give everyone what they want. Realistic for once that Leeds might draw 1-1. Thanks for that, Michelle. Thanks so much. I'm glad you're optimistic. We should be optimistic. I say Leeds should bid 25 million for taking the piss. I love that. Maybe. Brian, there's an argument that DCL's a better striker and he were free. There's an argument for that people are saying it. There's an argument, but I don't think he is. But is he £40 million less of a player? No, he isn't either. So it's all dependent. The fee that people pay, you never know if it's a decent fee until you've had him at the club for a couple of years, I suppose. We'll make a snap judgment fairly quickly. We always do. That's human nature. Book by the cover and all that. But if we spend 40 million on Larsen and he gets a couple of goals before the end of the season, then kicks on next season and becomes that player, who can get 14, 15 goals like he did for Wolves last season, then you take it every day of the week. Because unless you're Haaland, it's hard to get anybody even close to 20 goals a season. It's just tough. And especially without spending the big money. Like someone said earlier, Højlund at Man United, 60 million quid and still didn't hit the heights. Yeah, when you look at it that way, you're right though there. Yeah, 10 million between that and Rafinha. Rafinha would double what, should have been double that really. Look how far we've come, linked with an overpriced average car toss. Again, Ben, it's opinions, mate. But the fact that it's true though, isn't it? The fact that Leeds are willing to pay £40 million, regardless of who you think, if you think he's an average car horse, that's fine. I hope he comes and he proves you wrong. And I hope, Ben, if you are a Leeds fan, you hope he proves you wrong if we sign him, because you should. But for me, the fact that Leeds have got £40 million kicking around to go, we want that player that much that we're going to put 40 on table, that alone shows how far we've come, regardless of the player. The fact that Leeds are willing to do that and have that kind of money, we couldn't have done that, last year because we're a championship side. Couldn't have done that year before because we're a championship side. Look how far we've come. And it weren't too long ago before Bielsa come, we were an absolute shithouse of a club, mid-championship spot. So yeah, look how far we've come now that we've got 40 million spread out. However it is, that's the way football is these days. But yeah, I will 100% chest out say, look how far our club's gone. Too right, I will. I think we should get more points in the second half of the season, especially if we play like we have been in the last 10 games. Yeah, Fireman Paul. I'd love us to make Fulham a cheeky 12 mil bid offer for Harry Wilson, with them knowing they're losing him for nothing next summer. Yeah, very, very similar to the Larsen deal in terms of in the summer, the deal will be a different scenario. Obviously, they'll get note for him. Strand Larsen, they're going to get a lot less by being a championship club. So right now, can you get a better deal than what you're going to get in summer? Because they're going to get naff all in summer with him being a free agent. So it is an interesting one. We don't need Harry Wilson right now. We're signing Buonanotte. But if, again, we always talk about opportunist sort of deals that Leeds may explore, who knows with Harry Wilson? I mean, you take him, I'd love him at Leeds. And maybe, regardless if we get him now or not, maybe with Leeds showing so much promise and eagerness to get Harry Wilson, maybe we get him in summer anyway. Maybe you pick Leeds, but he's going to have a lot of suitors. It's hard to imagine if he becomes a free transfer, there won't be bigger, better, whatever sides than Leeds United in for his signature, and that would hurt because he's a player Leeds really, really wanted, and I think still do, to be honest. Yeah, that'll be good, mate. Yeah, if he scores winner against them. In Norway, they are saying Strand Larsen prefers Leeds. Yeah, well, everything I've heard and I'm being told is that he prefers Leeds, and I've heard that that's half of the reason the deal's not happened because he's told Palace he doesn't want him, he wants Leeds. But again, that's just hearsay. Is that true? And has he got the power to go? No, I'm not signing for them. I want to sign for them when the fee's 10 million less. I'm not too sure. Hey up, Leeds Rhinos. We're Leeds Rhinos. We're Leeds Rhinos. Bum the class. How you doing, Gemini? How you doing? Yes, go for Mateta. I haven't heard any. I have heard a lot of people say that, but I've not heard any rumours that that's a possibility. To be honest, but yeah, it's a fun one. It's a fun one. Have you heard about the links with the Korean striker Oh Hyuk-gyoy? How credible is that? I'll be honest with you, I'd seen it, and I'd seen one of my mates, content creators, do a video on it, and I laughed when I saw the thumbnail. I won't lie. I was looking at Leeds News a couple of hours ago to see if there was much else to talk about outside the big talking point, which is Strand Larsen and Piroe. And I'd seen it, and I read about 4 lines of it, and I turned it off. No, absolutely no truth in it all in that one. Yeah, no, just no. Hey up, Lado. Again, Farker, we stay awake in the transfer market. Longest stay awake ever without a major signing. That could been on Pro Plus, haven't they? And Red Bull's just there. Think, is it going to happen? Are we going to get anybody? Funny. Got news today as well, a little bit of news that Ethan Ampadu, they're working on a new contract for Ethan Ampadu. Better terms, obviously more money, better financial package. Deserves a new contract. Does Ampadu for me. It was third season now at Leeds United. Proved he was a very capable captain at championship level. And a lot of people questioned, some of my close mates questioned him as a Premier League player. And it hasn't taken him long at all to be, for me, he's triple what we paid for him now. He's a 25, 30 million pound player now. He's a Premier League player, and there will be suitors. There's 18 months left in his contract now as Ethan Ampadu. It's a deal that they need to get done, really. But let's be fair, when you look at loyalty in football, not many people have got it, but I look at Ampadu and think he loves Leeds. I look at Rodon, same. Fewer players we brought in, I think they're just our Leeds now, and I think can see Ampadu and people like Rodon, no matter what happens in their career, coming back in 10, 15 years' time, having guest speaking at dinners at Ellen Road and all that. I see that happening. I see Ampadu being potentially, at Leeds for a long, long time. He's still young, granted, he isn't young, mid-20s, but still got a lot of football to play. And if we can get him tied down to a new deal, an extra 3 or 4 years on that, and really tie him down into his prime and beyond, I'd be buzzing with that. I think Ampadu is such an important player for us. Axel, Diaz is going to West Ham. I'd seen that earlier. Has it been confirmed? I'm not too sure. Maybe it has. Not too bothered. I am massively bothered about not bringing the centre half in. I would have preferred Doki. If anyone want to bring it, if you told me they were signing Doki, I'd have been more bothered. But yeah, he's a good player. But I am massively down on that one, mate, to be honest. Tickles, that's right, Matty. Cheers, Top Banana. 401 likes. You couldn't have tickled them anymore, guys. Thanks so much for your support. Now, I don't know if this is a lie. I don't know if you're winding me up. If you are, then fair play. But my group chat normally pops off and I ain't saying no. Just subbed, loving the content and chat. All the best from York. Thanks so much, Chris. Really appreciate that, mate. A lot of new subscribers on today. I do a lot of lives a week, a lot of content. I'm off to game on Saturday. There'll be a match day vlog. I don't think I'm going to the Forest game because I haven't got a ticket. And I think I'm going to do a match day vlog. And it's on a Friday. So it ties in with going straight into late night Leeds after the game. But I think I'm maybe doing Chelsea away. So a couple of vlogs as well, Chris, for anyone who hasn't been on the channel before. I get to most home games, some away games, and I do match day vlogs as well. So a lot of content on this channel. 7 days a week, but I do a lot more than seven videos a week. Bearing in mind it's just a hobby, part-time. Work on a building site every day. Knackered, but I just absolutely buzz off getting on here and chatting to bloody 433 mates right now. That's how I view this channel. I love it. Might sound a bit wet, but I'm that kind of guy. Soft, big, fat, squidgy. Just love this club like we all do. And we just want the best. Thing is, we all want the best for Leeds, don't we? But we all have like a different method of how they get there. And some people think Strand Larsen's, he's going to help with that. Some people don't. And I love the debate. I love the discussions we have. And I say a lot of people in chat say this, a lot will know more about football than me. They'll know players who are better than Strand Larsen. In Europe, people watch more football than I do. I watch Leeds religiously. Outside Leeds, I just see bits and bats, I like reading up on transfer dealings, looking at players when we're linked with them. I love doing all that sort of bits now to come on here and talk about it and make sure I sound like I know a little bit what I'm on about. But a lot of people in chat will know more than I do. But it's just great, innit, as football fans, because we are passionate. We're just tribal, aren't we? To come on here and just have a chat. It's absolutely, I love it. I mean, I've been watching a lot of big content creators for probably about 6 years now, like before COVID and stuff and throughout, until I have a channel now where there's over 400, 500 people at one point today watching me talk about how I feel about Leeds. It's truly remarkable. So just know, whether you knew it or not, I really appreciate it. Really, really do. Thank you. Michelle again with Super Chat. Thanks so much, Michelle. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you. If Leeds get Larsen, do you think Farker would be brave enough to play two up top? From a DCL would be decent. Ian, yeah, 100%. I don't think we'd be looking at a player of Larsen's quality if we weren't, to be honest. I really don't. I think DCL surprised everybody with his fitness and how well he's playing, to be fair. I think he surprised a lot of people, how well it's worked out with DCL. But I don't think it's a case of, because we normally play, I say we play with two. We don't do we now. We play like a 1-1. We play with maybe Aronson or Okafor just behind. But I do think it would be settled for two up top. There's no way you could drop DCL and play Larsen. And there's no way really you could, drop Larsen and play DCL. For me, maybe it start that way. But I think eventually he's too good. And DCL's doing too good this season. It'd have to be that. It would have to be. My son is an Arsenal fan and my mental health this week rides on Leeds winning. Surely not, mate. Surely it's a tough one to ask that, isn't it? It's a tough one. But I tell you what, he'll be meltdown if we win, because it doesn't take much for Arsenal to start thinking it's going one way, does it? So Daniel Farker's press conference, loved it. Leeds at heart. Yeah, we've got a good press today. Canel Matt is going to be the biggest Leeds content creator with these views. It's about maintaining it week in, week out. Yeah, John, never going to be these numbers every week, mate. Depends what talking point is. I'm just happy anyone's watching me. So, it is what it is. But yeah, it's class. Shut up, Dave. Yeah, well, I think it's done over 400, mate. I can't thank you all enough, man. Class. Absolutely class. Would you lower the money offered and throw in Joel as a proven championship striker? Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised Wolves have looked at that. I really am. But like you see, he isn't the same profile as what they've got now in Strand Larsen. But with the fact they're going down, like loads of championship clubs are looking at Joel Piroe now, thinking, he could fire us to promotion. So I'm really surprised knowing that they are going down, that they haven't explored the option. David Derry, great channel, Matt. I hope JSL signs Late Night Leeds, best show of the week. David, thanks so much, mate. Another super chat, mental. And thanks for, shouting out Late Night Leeds. Please, anyone, come and watch it tomorrow night, 10 o'clock. Thanks so much for that, mate. Really appreciate it, David. Hope you're all good, mate. Raheem Sterling, seen in Springs Leeds today. Again, I don't know about that, mate. Raheem Sterling, for me, we were rumoured early in window. I did a video on it. Right now, where we are now, no chance. No chance. I know he's no longer a Chelsea player, but not for me. Kevin Boswell, I am a Wolves fan. I like listening to other fan podcasts. I say yours is one of the best ones. Good on you. Thanks, Kevin. Really appreciate that, buddy. That's class, especially coming from another fan. I just try and bring. It's hard now because, like I say, only a month ago I was having about 150 people in the chat, which I couldn't believe. It was class. That was like the best I'd ever got, and I was getting that consistently, and I was able to go on every chat and bring everyone up. And it took me about almost 2 hours to get through a full stream. But now I've just having to sort of give up on the fact that the anxiety is getting me a little bit, that I can't bring everyone's up. But it is what it is. It's just the floodgates have opened, and I can no longer do it. But yeah, I just really try. I'm just a fan like you, mate. So obviously, if Leeds and not Wolves, but yeah, thanks for saying that's class. Leo O'Brien, I personally think 40 million for JSL is too much. And to be honest, if they get this money, they don't go spend it on a left back, centre back, and a better striker to help DCL out. Centre back's not going to happen, in my opinion, unless an opportunity again comes up. But everything I'm reading, seeing, hearing, reading between the lines, it's not going to happen for a centre half unless we're bringing a left back cover who can also play centre half, which would be my choice. Predominantly a left back though. But yeah, I think that may happen later window. Hopefully we get some clarity on this JSL rumour, because I just don't want it to bat on till final days. But the fact that we've got this money, like I said earlier to my mate at work, the fact that we've offered in and around 40 million for Larsen, if it don't happen and then we don't get a left back cover, fans are going to go mental. because you've proven you've got capital, some form of capital here. If you don't get the basic necessity, which is just cover at fullback, which for me should be the easiest deal to do. Fullback, they're not, we're not saying go spend 20 million on left back here. We're saying bring a loan player in, go bring, another Goodmanson in, 10 million quid, 5 million quid. That sort of fee from out in Europe, someone who's maybe not quite as good as Goodmanson, but has potential, who'll be quite happy coming to Premier League and playing maybe 5 or 6 games this season as a backup. The fact that we've got that sort of money now, it worries me if we do get Larsen all 40, then probably we don't get a left back. But Graham Smith speaking on Inside Ellen Road podcast yesterday, there's a chance that Leeds get 2 players, a striker and a left back, 1 player, a striker or a left back, or no players. Fucking no one. There's an opportunity, a chance that all that happens. DIT says, we can't sign this flop. Leeds are the best, says Boland. No loan, get Rangers to pay 25 million out with PSR. They are pissing in the same pot. But I thought this too, Richard. Just shift some money from there to there and make there look better, please. Hey up, Boland. Transfers mean nothing unless a player doesn't want to go. Easy B, how are you doing? I haven't seen you for a bit. Lay off Piroe. He's every right to see out his contract. Yeah, I agree with that, Easy. I agree with that. Farker knows how to devalue a player. I agree with that too. He'll end up going for free. I don't think he goes for free because he'd have to sit on the bench at Leeds for another 2 years, which I don't think will happen. I rate Piroe. He hasn't been given an opportunity, Easy. But I don't think Farker's going to play him, so he has to go for me. For me, you move on a player that ain't going to play. But you know how I felt about Ramazani? I didn't want him to go, but we're never going to play him either. So he may as well not be here at the club currently because he ain't going to kick a ball. So it comes down to that. And Farker knows how to devalue a player. Again, that's opinions. The fact that he's on the bench not kicking a ball does devalue a player. So that's also accurate. Whether you think Farker does that or this particular scenario with Piroe, someone not playing who had value, definitely, coming to end of last season, and isn't playing, he will lose value by the end of the season sitting on the bench playing charity minutes. But I don't think he'll go on a free. I definitely think he'll move on in summer if he don't move on now. But he isn't going to play. So he may as well go, pal, for me. As sad as that may be. And he deserves respect, does Piroe, for what he's done for us, 100%. But we were just as good for Piroe as what Piroe offered us. What a club to play for at Leeds United. Piroe got lucky that we give it might sound awful, but Piroe, great for us, did well. But we also, as a championship player playing for Swansea, going nowhere at Swansea, playing well, we then give him the opportunity to lead line for Leeds United and kick on and get us to Premier League, and he helped us. He did that. He were brilliant at times. Let's not reinvent the wheel and say we're the best striker we've ever seen. He always delivered. He didn't. Over the course of the season, he got enough goals, and massive fan of Piroe's. Great finisher, still best finisher at the club in my opinion. But yeah. Evening, Matt. I just joined chat. Tell me we've signed him low. We haven't signed him, that Leeds lad. We haven't. We still don't know if Palace are going to sign him yet, but we'll have to see. I know, Boland. I know this. And I think Buonanotte has not got an easy ride into the starting lineup, but we still need him in the club. We still need him through the door, Boland. We need him there. We need a bit, we need 1 or 2 extra players for me. But yeah, I agree with that. It'll take them a while to get in. If they're good enough, for me, if they're good enough, they'll get the way inside. But it's obvious to see, I've always said this with Farker. He's got his favourites. He's got players he'll play. He's got players who'll get more time to play through bad form than others. I mean, I thought Okafor needed to come out, and he did. There's a chance now Okafor plays again with Metcha being out or whatever sort of permutation. I think Okafor will get more minutes than Nontos here. But there's an argument that Nontos should have been given a chance over Okafor at times this season. But some players, whether it's the value of how much you brought them in for or whether the one of Farker's best is, however you want to wrap it up, some players get the opportunity to play through the poor form, and other players who maybe are shining off the bench don't really get the opportunity to play the way into starting. But it's just the way it is. And I always say, regardless of any favourites I've had, I had this last year with Ramazani. I wanted him to play more. The fact we were winning and we had someone playing instead of Ramazani in Solomon who were just doing as good, if not better, and we're getting the results, you can't argue with that. And that's where I sort of am now. That's where I sort of am. No one can get a word. You can't with me, Boland. Road on. Amps will be held in high esteem at Leeds years after their playing days. And agreed, Matt. Yeah, I agree. So that's exactly what I think, pal. Zach, going to be really interesting if West Ham go down after all the business they've done. Have to wonder if there's relegation clauses aplenty, like with a few years back. Yeah, you'd imagine there would be. I think Wolves have definitely got that in abundance with how they sort of finished last season. I think it was quite evident Wolves are going to struggle this season. Whether West Ham have or not, I'm not too sure. Yeah. Dean Bolt, if Piroe staying or going, Ipswich looks like they can give him decent money, yeah. And it guarantees him Premier League football next season for me too, Dean. But I'd love him to go to Rangers. Jim Vortex, how you doing, mate? Or Leeds out we? Ooh, LUFC Jack. Ampadu or Phillips in his prime. Personally loved and still love Calvin for what he did for us. But I think Ethan is class. I think Ethan Ampadu's a better player than Phillips. Although I do think for like 12 months, especially around that England sort of peak for Phillips, I think he was unreal. I really do. But yeah, I do really like Ampadu. I think he's unreal. Leeds are the best, says Bolan. Yeah, well, it looks like we're going to give him a new contract. Yeah, we do, Kevin. We need all those tallest players out for Arsenal, 100%. Like I say, from set pieces, they're outstanding. Yeah, I'm sure I'll find out after the stream. 400 plus likes. You are definitely going up in the world, mate. Cheers, Richard. I don't know if it's, honestly, I'm just trying to get through it best I can. It's so difficult. Top Banana, you're doing a great job getting through as many chats as possible. Keep up the amazing work. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason with it either. I'm just trying to click on what I can. Here for the first time, like and subscribe. Can we always just Joe Speedy recovered it? Yes, James. Someone said this yesterday. More people on here are shouting Joe out as well. And if he gets mentioned, I'll always shout him out. If you look at his social media, it looks fantastic. 30 days sober today, Joe. You probably won't see this, but if you do, class, mate. Class. 30 days sober. Jumping around in chuffing waterfalls yesterday. He's been at lake somewhere. I've gone for a nice few days away walking in the countryside, and it looks like he's doing really well. So hopefully he won't be far off, back on the scene, doing what we all love. And main reason I've got a channel is from Joe as well. So MOT, we all love Leeds. Great content, Matty. Thanks, Michelle. And again, thank you so much, Michelle. Really, thank you. Yeah, she is a star. Always has been, always will be. Thank you. Class. Hey, up Tim the Minion. Good evening, Matty. He's not worth 50 mil. If Mateta is only worth 40 mil, good luck against Arsenal. Cheers, mate. I really appreciate that. And we'll wrap it up there, I think, guys. Nonto is our best player, in my opinion. Jamie, I love that. I love that someone's sticking up for Nonto. I remember teams doubling up on him. If had the run in the squad, he'd be flying. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think he's not getting a look in, is he? And I think in terms of technical ability, he's right up there. Like, there's no two ways about it. Premier League, weirdly, I thought he'd take off. We saw him in Premier League before. It's just happened. It's not down to, same with Piroe. There's a few players out there, even Tanaka, who I think should be getting more minutes. They aren't getting more minutes, and it's unfortunate. And there's a big sell-on for people like Nonto and Tanaka, and that's going to be an issue for them. I think it's summer. There'll be a lot of people's favourites potentially going out the door for big money. But it is what it is. So, yeah, Strand Larsen hasn't happened so far for Palace. Maybe they're pulling out. Hopefully that's the case. Again, just want to quickly shout out. Thanks so much, Michelle. She's done bloody loads tonight. Thanks for all your super chats. I really appreciate it. Andrew, Abdul Rahman and Khalifa, thank you so much again for that. David, you're a legend as well. Thanks so much for everyone's super chats and everyone else in the chat. Thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it. YouTube plaque on the way, so don't think so. Thanks again, Matt. A great chat. Late Night Leeds is outstanding, says Matt Hopkinson. Love to try beat the ladder, but Matt Heath's teeth is my favourite. I love that because I wasn't sure that'd take off, but I love it. Yeah, everyone come back tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Set yourself a reminder. Late Night Leeds with me, AG and Boss Nass. Good night to everyone. Thank you so much. And yeah, I will see you all on the next one. Take care. Good night. God bless. Smash a like on your way out. See you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.